Sorry guys, I got some guests, so someone was calling me. I needed to answer them. Since I'm like in the second floor, so they cannot hear me, and they were shouting my name, calling on my name, not shouting. So I had it. Sorry for the putting my voice up, so they needed to hear me up. I think the microphone here it may sounded more louder. Sorry for that. So. So we're just gonna finish because it's a long project. Usually will take a year or more than that actually to build. But since I have already built it and wasted the time, so there's no much to do actually. I still didn't finish a lot of stuff. You're gonna need actually to update and add more functions by yourselves. But I'm giving you the strong fundamental that you're gonna need to build stuff. Fundamental for your servers, for your service, so you can have your own. For example, you don't need a third party involvement where you're going to be paying subscriptions. Update password. Actually, this one is update profile. Didn't add profile. So update profile. I think we didn't create it. Uh, so we're gonna need to go to our out services and create update profile. You still have missing functions that you're gonna need to add yourselves. As I told you, the project usually, if you're gonna build it yourself, may take you a while because there's a lot of functions. But the concept is there. You understood the concept of the packaging, where to put the packaging, how to get the packaging, declaring types. So actually, it's not. Which gonna be a string interfaces. No, it's strings of strange. And it should return error. Then what we're gonna do if value and keep okay would be assigned to data dot. Because this function would be updating the profile, so it may update the name, it may update the photo. It would be something like this function that we had it here. So what we're gonna do, so it may actually update the display too, including the display name. And then I'm gonna do OK. Now user dot display would be equal to OK, to v, to value. Now what we're gonna do now, if v again slash OK, it's equal to, let's say now, different type, which is going to be data.photo URL or just photo. And then the same thing, we're going to say that the user photo would be equal to the new value. Now this is because we forgot to add the OK here. And now we're just going to do what we use always to do. So out. So we're going to do log, actually not out, log action user to the user to let them know that they have updated their photo into their action. We're going to add user UID. And we can take this one off, and then we're going to say update photo update, profile update. Now we're going to log to our panel, which is manager, which we're going to do n/a/, then the type would be, let's say, update profile. Then it would be a patch, since it's going to be in our out. On the existing. So we're going to do a remote because it's a remote action. And now we're going to do, just to help us acknowledge, a toggle zone for us actually, for the panel to be used. Later on you can put any definition here as you want. As for me, I'm going to use like user.profile, which highlights that the function profile had been used. Beside, I can actually use also the function types to detect any function that have been used from those types. So, and at the end, it's just gonna return save our account there, and then it would be the user UID, and then next to it, credential the file, which is and at the end over here, we're gonna do user to map, which gonna be taken user. Since we have just added into the user the display, added that, and the function is actually created to facilitate for us to repeat again writing it. So now we're gonna get back to our main, and we were at authorize. Let's see where it is. So we were at user profile. Since the function update did not existed, we just had it create an update profile, which will allow us to update the profile. We're gonna say user.data, and then after that you're gonna say error, and if not null, then it would be a C JSON 400. Or again, but H error, which we're gonna be sending error, which would be error type dot error. Now the mistake it's because it should be two dot, and now as at the end we just gonna return, and now we just, if no error, we just gonna do JSON dot status 200, meaning okay. Because I need to call the C inside here, C dot JSON dot 200, which is okay. Which is actually start user. Now we're gonna add multiple batch and a delete. Just one more actually, not multiple batch. So, and then we're gonna start listening to the server straightforward, and we're gonna build the first server extension after this one, straightforward. Now this batch, we're gonna call it for email, and then next we're gonna add the function, and then the function, and I'm gonna rename this to C. You can get the English or you want, you know. I just like to abbreviate it to one, which make it more easy. So in here we're just gonna do get strange, which is gonna be a UID. Now user hash, we're gonna say in here output get UID, get user by UID, and then we're gonna give it UID. Then we're gonna say var request, and then we're gonna add email. So let me just grab one from below again, so you don't have to write. In here. Now we're gonna do again. C and this one, and we're gonna pass the request. No, if error, and we're gonna say go out dot. This one is to update the email. We still gonna need to go create update email function again. So let us create this function, which is going to be func update email. So this function needs the email. The email, where is it located? So it's in the user. So we're gonna need user. Then would be a type of the user. Then we're gonna need this email that we're gonna update, which is gonna be a string. And we may gonna need, that's it. Just we're gonna need to say the error because it's not returning nothing. So it's just should return in case that there's just an error and then in here inside. Now we're gonna need to define the old email and then add the new email because we're gonna need to update the files, and the files are using the old email. So we're gonna need to hold before deleting. We're gonna declare the old email and hold it before changing. Then write email. Then we're gonna say the new email, which is gonna be the user. And let's say over here to simplify it, new email. It's gonna be the user dot email dot equal to new email. Now we're gonna need to remove the folders. So we're gonna do also dot remove all, and then file path file path. Then we're gonna do join, and inside we're gonna do email dir, and then we're gonna look for the old email. So we remove the folder of the old email inside our index dir, and then we're gonna add the new one, which gonna do just gonna do save, and then inside email dir, and then next to it we're gonna do the new email, and gonna give the file, and the last thing next to it would be the UID, the map to string to UID. So we can call map to user, or we can do just map strange. Then we're gonna do strange back again, but we're gonna define that we need the UID next to it, user dot UID, and this is because it should be as array or an object, and it's still not done. That's just one of the parts. So now we're gonna do the logs, and then we're gonna do the save. So let's first return our save. We're gonna do save out file. Inside here we're gonna do account dir, not the email, because if you see it's the same function, but this one is going to the email dir. Now we're gonna need to add it into our account dir. So we're gonna say user UID, which is the file, and now again same file, but in a different, they're not the same same name file, but different location and different data inside. Now here we can use our user to map, and then we're gonna do user, and that's it. Now let's add the logs over here, And inside the logs, what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna say user.uid. Next to it, we're gonna say that the action was email update. Now, and then we're gonna say the new email next to it over here to know what email was updated with what. Now into our system, we're just gonna keep this one, but instead of passing the user, we're just gonna pass the email straightforward. Inside here, we're just gonna say remote. So we can depict the email in our panel. And then inside here, we're just gonna describe this as a patch. And now in here, we're just gonna add it as update email, which is the function. Now the UID should be coming from the user UID. And now we got update email done. So we're gonna get back to our function. And we can call update email now. And as you see, it take the user, which is an out. So out instant. So if we put out, we're gonna get out instant. And next to it, we just gonna pass our user. Let me see. Actually, we can pass the user, not out instant, and then the request email, which is gonna be updated. Then should give us an error, and no. Then we should check JSON, c.json. We should return c.json 400. Then gain would be .h. And we're gonna say there is an error. And return the error, which is going to be error. And now c.json, if it's okay, c.json, then 200, status 200, which is okay. Which means that the request have been passed through. There is no problem with the server. So now we're gonna repeat the same thing in here. We're just gonna start. We're gonna pass a message, not an error this time. We're gonna say message next to it. We're gonna add email updated. And last would be delete email. And we're gonna have delete and reload email, and after that we will start our server. So if you see, we have already delete, so we're just gonna pass / next to it. We're just gonna do function, and then inside we're gonna use that to get get out the UID, which is gonna be the C dot get. Now it's gonna get the UID from the strange from the URL. Then user, it's gonna be this, and then dot, then out dot get user by UID. Then we're gonna pass the UID. Now we're gonna say if error none equal null, or no, we're gonna say, because we're deleting, so it's gonna be equal to out dot delete user, and then delete user would be having user, which is user, and then error non equal null, and should be passing status JSON with 400 and gain error dot h, and then we're gonna say error next to it, error dot error, then return. Now c.json will take you to 100, then game dot h with a message stating account have been deleted. And we can say account deleted or user. Now for our last function, we're gonna do get, then it would be reload. So it should be slash reload, and it is a get, and it would take a function. Function would be a C, since it's gonna be returning also. So it's not a big function, it's easy. So as usual, we're just gonna get, so the C dot get UID, get string, and inside UID, and then we're gonna do user and slash underline, and would be equal to out get user by ID. Then we're gonna give it UID. Now we got user, we got that, so we have already created a reload function, perhaps, or not. Let me double check. Yes, I did. So we don't need actually to go back and create it. So c dot JSON, and we're just gonna put 200 and 200 and the user. Sorry, there is no error in this. And now for the last part. It took a long while actually, non testing none. So let's now do some testing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a port. So in Go, if you want to test the port or server, you're just gonna create first the port, and it's not it's a number but in the string, so it's 401. Now we're gonna do log first for us to know that things are running. We're gonna say print f, and then inside here we're gonna open. And now you can do a style design, whatever you like. It's up to you actually. So I'm gonna do some style for the panel to be looking bit nice. So for example, inside here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna write down. This is not a command, this is just text that you write for your panel to be showing up. So do not think it's code or anything. So you can write down whatever you want. So just to be displayed to you into the panel over here, not into the panel, into your panel here to know that things are working. URL is gonna be, let's say, you're gonna say http / sorry, two dots / local host, and then the port, which was, we're gonna call it like this, percentage ns, and then at the end over here, just gonna add port, which gonna be calling it back. So I'm gonna add over here, for example, and no. Now we're gonna run the server. We're gonna do if, sorry, after running the server, then we're gonna do error.run. Inside here, we're gonna add two dots and plus port, which we have put. Then we're gonna say next to it, error non equal null. Then log. Actually, should be run with capital N. Then log dot fatal. That means that there is something gonna crash the server. And now we're just gonna put a V here. Sorry, not a capital. And then next to it, the error, which we're gonna be getting from here. So now, as you can see, yeah, it should be a fatal F. And now, again, it's gonna be perfect. So so let us run. Okay. So it's gonna need actually to go to need to go to the main actually and run it from here. Well, the main should have. Bear with me one sec. Anyway, so let's do one thing because I just want to build it quickly. I don't want to waste too much time. So I'm gonna build it as as an executable, and you're gonna have to do the same later on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write down. You write down the same command I'm writing down. I'm gonna do go build, then dash O, then next to it you're gonna write the directory where you're gonna be building this extension. So we're gonna call a file here, we're gonna call it build. Next to it I'm gonna call the extension name, which is out.txt executable. No, sorry, executable name, which is gonna be that, and then I'm gonna direct it where it's actually located the folder. So the folder would be located in cmd slash out, and we want to build the main out of the out dot go. Now let me see, because usually I'm gonna need to add more than this context. Let me see, it should actually build with no problem. And yeah, it got built. So we have a builder over here and we have a XC, so we can actually call it using that. And also I can, let me just double check because I think I know why it didn't run for me earlier. So I think I should be doing /c.go run. No, it's later on I'm gonna show you how to run it singly, but I know just how to create executables and stuff at the moment. We're gonna need to go to this executable to test it. So the best way would be open relevant file in Explorer. So and we just run it straightforward. It says over here, I found the version, can check in the software publisher. So it would not run for us like this. So as I said, we're gonna have to add more to it. So you're gonna need first a package. Let me first show you what you're gonna need so you don't actually try to run it and it doesn't work for you, and then you come back and you're like, oh, the guy, I don't know how they did it, he's hiding the secret or something. Now I'm gonna show you everything. So there is a software that you're gonna need actually that hold the packages for you to build. So it's called, let me see. Actually, I don't have it into this workstation. That's why I didn't install it. So luckily, I'll be installing it here, which will allow you to see the whole process of installation. So I'm gonna need, it's called Zig. So let me just grab the link. It's called Ziglang. Lang. Zig. Zig. So if we look for here, it's ziglang.org.download. So we're just gonna go here and grab it from here. Let me double check. Yeah, this is where I got it last time. Okay. So we need for Windows. I think this is gonna be 42-bit. This is architecture Windows, and this is 68. So 86. So I took the 86, which is 46-bit, 64-bit, healthy. So just extract everything, choose where you're gonna be putting it. For me, I'm just gonna drop it into the C, and then select the C, and then I'll put a zig, and then extract. I'm just gonna wait for it to finish, and then we're gonna start. So we're gonna need first to create a trust shirt. So we're gonna need to import. So you're just gonna follow what I'm gonna write down, and you just write down the same. Okay. Let me first, before going and doing that, want to see if I add it to the trust shirt that work. So we do have this. I'm just gonna let me see if I can. Which has like so. What I'll do is I'm gonna copy all this, get back one array, put it there. Should fast. Remove this. No. So we're gonna come over here, press the bell, go back. Actually, here we're gonna open a PowerShell over here. We're gonna reopen again a shell, but before copy this link because we're gonna need to drive from the new administrated PowerShell. And then, sorry, I open two instead of one. So Control Shift, and then you click Add. It should give you administrator. CD, and then you go to the location. Inside that location, you would be writing a $sign EV, which is NV, and then we're gonna create a new cert. So I'm gonna call it my cert. So we're gonna say new self. Let's say new self. Then type. You're gonna do space then type like this. Inside of it, you're gonna write code sign signature. You can add whatever you want. And now we're gonna add the subject. But first, subject, which would be so I'm gonna call this one CN inside here. Then we're gonna call it equal. And then you add the alter name. For me, I'm just gonna add MAK abbreviated. For you, you can add your name in this last name. And then we're gonna do this hash algorithm. Just bear with me one sec. So it's gonna be hash code. Sorry, that's what I was going to make sure. It's gonna be hash algorithm. With the h. You can change the algorithm later to a different one. So I'm just showing you what you can do, but I'm not gonna be putting this, so don't worry. You're gonna give it a time till 2048. Then we're gonna add a dash. Bear with me one second. So we're gonna add a dash, which is gonna be not for, not after. And then over here, you're just gonna put git data dot add here years. So if you put down everything as it says over as I put it, you should be fine once you click the first, because it's not one command, but it's multiple commands that you're going to be running. So the first command would be this. You're going to put it through. It's not going to pass. Let me just double check. What did I miss? So it is actually it is cert, not event. Sorry, my mistake. Oh, I made a mistake into hash algorithm. No. So So it says over here new self touch last subject Shein. So mistake is cert, mistake is env. So, yeah, both of them they were a mistake because it should be not two dot, but actually it should be equal. Sorry for that. Okay. So this time it says that the error is good, but we got one more thing. Subject and dot data. It should be actually capital, my mistake. Get data is unrecognized. Oh, of course. It's date. Sorry, not data. Yeah, now the function go through. So once you get this function correctly, now we're gonna move to the second one, which is gonna be assert password would be equal, then you type. Actually, you will type a password. So we can actually create a password here. I can delete the cert later on because I have another. So we're gonna do convert. Then you're just gonna do true. Then dash secure. Secure. And then string. Now we're just gonna do dash and then first letter string capital. Then in here we're gonna do password. So each time that you're gonna be signing executable, so you'll be allowed to run it into your environment, you're gonna need actually to put the password. So this is just a tutorial. We just set in this one just to show you how you can actually have a digital signature into your executables. Now if I click enter, it already set it the password. Now let's export. So we're just gonna write export, and then you're gonna do prefix, then you're gonna call the cert, and we're gonna give it a location where we want to find that cert each time to use it. After that, I'll be showing you how you can create your own CLI where actually it can build for you and you don't have actually to write the codes back. Now, we're gonna give it a cert file name, which is gonna be cert, will be file path. Now we're gonna give it a path, which is gonna be, for example, I have my user. Let's put it to my desktop, for example. User, let's say user profile, which is users, which is me, which the profile I'm logging with my computer session. If you have multiple users, it will use the user that you are logged in with. And then we're gonna say desktop. There's one more thing over here. It should be this desktop. And then we're gonna send my cert over there. And then we're gonna call it prefix. Then close. Then add next to it dash the password that we have set. Then we're gonna say is the cert certificate password, which we have wrote in the first functions, in the first commands, the second command over here. So we're just gonna call that, which is inside the certificate. We're just gonna write cert password as it is, one word. Sorry, cert. This is not the password, but you need to write it right like this for your password after you have set it. So don't think that this is actually this password. No, this is not this or neither this, but it's referring to the whole line command over here that converted the string of that word. So to put it here. Now if you click, it should say password not protected, can be both absolute prefix. Oh yeah, I made it a mistake. Should be password. Now as you can see, we got the certificate over here. Now we're gonna sign our application. Now to sign an application, we're gonna need to run a command, which we're gonna be importing actually the cert where we are in our builder. We are actually in the builder, straightforward. We're just gonna import the cert over here. So what you're gonna do is just write down import, actually the cert is created from here. Anyway, we gotta import prefix. So just write it down as in here, prefix certificate, prefix certificate. Then you do plus, then you do file path. Then into the file path, you're just gonna call env.user. Actually, you don't need env. You can just do as this. Or you can go to cert. Actually, it would be more better if we can go to the cert over here and just, because we created it, and just copy the path. You can put it as this. As you can see, the user is user, or you can do env user and it's gonna get the current user and go to that cert. Now, after adding the path and after adding line, we're just gonna add just put dash like this, then password, then just put as PW. Oh, sorry. File path is not the cert path, but it's our function path. So it should be this one over here. Just cert path. Yeah, so just remove the password because you're gonna need to enter it yourself. And usually if we click this, should go, no? Ah, sorry. What we're gonna do, try this one actually instead of importing it, because we're not gonna import it, we just gonna get it this time. And I think getting it, yeah. So once you get it, it will ask you for the password. So you're just gonna write password. If your password is correct, it's gonna give you a thumb. So the thumb is there. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set, just do as I am doing. So we're gonna validate our extension, so we can actually our executable. We're gonna authenticate it so we can actually action it, execute it without having problems saying you need the publisher, because we are the publishers. Like whoever is going to be creating this after this video, he's going to be the publisher too, so of that, after making his editing. But just letting you know that there is a copyright, so do not try to publish. But you can write your own code and your own logic and then publish. Now file name, because we're already here, we're just gonna need to add the file name. If you bear with me 1 sec, because I want to give you the correct codes. So what you're gonna do inside here, you're just gonna copy the builder, and then just gonna add this next to it. You're gonna add a slash and then out.executable, then minus dash, then you write cert. And just dash cert should work if you just do cert like this. Unknown error. So we got an unknown error, which should not happen. We should get validate, not unknown error. So let me try. Oh, okay. So let me move that. Just gonna go back to our code panel. we will not be able to open this one unless we run the funnel. Okay, so um, so since we have the certificate now running, so just bear with me. Now we're gonna actually rebuild it and sign it back. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna take off this. I'm just gonna say, let me first see zig. Zig is not recognized. Zig. So first, um, I'm just gonna say, do as I say exactly, even. So open a PowerShell. Actually open it inside where we're gonna be building. So we're gonna open it inside here, the out. Actually not this one, but CMD, CD. Now inside here, we're gonna write MV first. I'm gonna delete this because this is why it's not working, because it's not being built correctly. It happened to me last time, so don't worry. I do have a builder which actually can do all the work for me, so we don't need to go through this process that I went with. It's good sometimes to do that so you can actually have a refresh from time to time. So give me just 1 second to gather the thoughts before starting. And I need to delete this one I have already did. So now let's start. Now we're gonna highlight for our env that we have a CC on a folder which is the Z, which I have actually put it into the C, which one? C. Actually, I can go inside here and take the extension that I'll be needing so you can understand. So we're just gonna go inside, go into the zig, and then inside the zig, we should have a bin folder. Inside the bin folder, we're just gonna copy this, not the lab, but the bin. So if I can't find the bin, that's mean it's the wrong. No, it is the correct. So just put it as this. Which would be so there are configuration of the zig. So so CC plus, then we're gonna put zig. So C dot. So we're gonna call the executable, which is actually into the folder of the zig, and we're gonna do executable. Then inside of it, we're gonna do CC. Then inside of it, minus target. Just click shift space so you don't enter the command because you need to enter them both at the same time. And we're gonna keep the same command, only that we're gonna add here CCC plus compiling. And if we go at the end, we're gonna do again like this, and then we're gonna go build minus O, but this time not minus O, you're gonna do minus LD, LDF, sorry, we're still gonna need to enable 0 and 1. That's why our application is not working, because we forget to enable 0 and 1. So if it's not in, should be at 1, not 0, because 0 meaning at the start, but 1 meaning that it's nested inside. That's why it was asking for publisher. You do minus h would be equal to window, and then GUI, then minus O, then you're gonna add over here the name of the extension that we're gonna be having and where we're gonna be having it. So I'm just gonna be setting the extension. Since we are on the out folder, I'm just gonna keep it there in the out folder itself, but before, and call it .exe. But before that, so if you run it like this, it would not work because you missed the important part. It's this one over here, which is gonna be env, again, environment. Then you're gonna have to add cgo underline enable, and then we're gonna add O and 1. So what would oh yeah, I will not find this because it's not largest like this. Now as you can see, we got it built this time, and I think it should be running without signature. It's just a matter that we're gonna have to check cmd, and then out, then main, give us here, and out. let's sign the object. Sadly, cannot sign because of sir. What? So, give me a sec. No extension, so it says that the error was invalid because it is a null. Why is that? Prefix. Try again. Okay, so password is correct. So sign up. I think it's missed something into the line. We said file path cert would be cert. And since we have time, let's add a time. Perhaps this is why it's not working for us, because we set time. Times, sorry. Time. Okay. And we're gonna say HTTP and slash slash then next to it time and set time stamp, and we're gonna add next to it digital digit cert, sorry, which is digital cert. That's all. And I hope why is that? Well, actually, the path file builder. Actually, let me just add the cert like this instead of us in running it like that. Still can't. Bear with me one sec. I'm just gonna grab the builder. Then we're gonna work in writing down the builder later on. They're useful sometimes because sometimes codes on CSH they don't actually work completely correct. I'll leave you a copy of the builder later on, where you can grab it and use it. Bear with me, just I need to find good find then. USB. Um, No, but can't find the. Yeah, here it is. So this is the second step we were work on. But since at this moment, because this is a new computer too, I want to know what is the problem, because the second computer I have installed all the sets, but then this second one I think missing. So it's a good thing. So both of us to investigate what is the issue. So I'm just gonna first test if the builder would work for us. Let me just clear a few things before taking it further. So in here, so this is the second part that we were going to be working on a CLI, which actually you're going to build a CLI to help you build stuff, so you don't have actually to wreck your head between commands of PowerShell and other commands. It's actually the part that I said that you're going to need a JavaScript. So JavaScript would be actually for that builder. Uh, so now let us try this builder. But before, I'm gonna show you. We're gonna write it, so you don't need actually to stop the video and try to copy. You're just gonna have a hard time. It's just the problem that I want to know if I have all the sets for this computer. In the meantime, also for anyone who's watching who want to attempt to do to get the same results as I was getting in the first one. So now in here we should have only the out. Now I have the builder. I dropped it into the Z, which if I do now, let's add this builder somewhere where we can use access. Need to be in the same root of the file. Paste. And now let's get our CLI, which actually before getting there, I'm gonna show you the builder so you can do understand. Here we're just gonna add that password. So it actually, but you're still gonna need to create your cert, just so that you understand. You can add the commands of creation of the cert in here and add a function, so later on you don't have to do that again. So let's go back. Anyway, you have the new software line. You watched it this part, you know how we did create the cert. So in here we just gonna call it same as our cert earlier, which was my cert. So we use this function, you notice, let me see. So it's called mycert.mycert, and that would be it. I think this one should be working if I just run build new.builder. Oh, our builder is here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this builder since it has already the root and everything. So, and we're gonna call it over here and let it build for us and sign for us and check after signature. if everything is correctly. If anything happened wrong, it would declare it over here. Just make sure that the password is correct, matching the served password. Otherwise, that would be the wrong case that would occur. And this is with JavaScript. It's handy to know stuff. I think we're gonna need to install what it is called again. Now it takes time a bit, so just be patient. It's just compiling for us. Let me double check. Maybe the reason, did I call this one Zig? Yeah, it is Zig, correct. Inside there is Zig. Should be correct. Now our app executable have been built, which is a good thing. Happy days. Now usually we could just go to builder and we should see it there because this builder have already been set to handle the app. So let me just close this and also close this, we don't need, and let us open our out app. And if we look, we have here into the builder. So let's see what did occur. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm missing the software. Actually, I had it also this error happening. Just bear with me. Let me try something. cd.cmd, cd.app, cd. So let me do go run dot run dot go. Run main. So the package is not recognized over here. Anyway, just bear with me one sec. We will finish everything. Let me check. So I'm gonna just add a few more things. So alright, about we gonna let me see. I'm pretty sure it's the problem that my computer doesn't have all the sets needed. Because just try main okay. This has need the packages. But if I do cd back from here and then cd back cd, I got it. So let me do go instead of running like this, I'll be doing cmd slash let me look at our build here because in the builder I have commands too. So it should be o.run cd have. Okay, this is where we may have. So from that point where we are in, so it need mean packages. So it's not a main package. Oh yeah, we need actually the main package. So let me just grab my project, then put it here, then try it over this one to know that if I have all the sets needed to distinguish if the problem is actually the set or maybe I was running a wrong or missing a command. So if you can bear with me. Because I do have in the second computer, which is more stronger MSI, which is a strong computer, which has actually everything. I have already set it, which was actually the one I was working with this project. But for this computer that I'm working with right now, I used to work with it like TypeScript. I just added the Go language over here. I use it just like for web development. Well, the other I use it like for programming and hard stuff because it's a hard processor. It has all needed for programming. So now I do have the project here all complete. So we're gonna just grab the copy that I have complete. And we're gonna test it here and then we're gonna run this one, which is db. They do have a different name. This is what we are working with. This is my finished part. So what we're gonna do over here, I'm just gonna open this one into our here. I'm just gonna Let's trust it. I'm gonna delete the build and let me try to call the builder here. We may gonna need to add password and the location. So I don't wanna, since I have the certs and everything. No, let us try it right now. It's gonna be good to find out what is the problem. So I'll build it out. Let me see the file build. We don't have, we deleted. So now we're gonna choose one. But this one, because we have the main in this file. So in the previous version, we didn't set yet the main. So therefore there's no out. The out packages in the storage are not being called. So I have to define what is the problem and where it's gonna be tricky, but if it works. But if it didn't work, it means that my workstation is not set for the project. What we can do is we can take a copy of this one that we just made and put it into the other station and test it over there. But there is, we're gonna need to get software actually installed. I think I have maybe installed the wrong version of the Zigo, perhaps. Let me, since I have a proxy here, so maybe if I, yes, 6842. No, I think maybe that was the reason why it didn't get extracted, because I suppose, but 68 is also 42. Let's test now. We do have a version already made. Now we're gonna need to find this builder. So yeah, it is working. So let me see, it's running on 401. So I think it's because it's using the main. So the good news that this workstation has everything correctly and everything is working. So what is missing, why it's not being run correctly on the other side, I think it's because we didn't finish the main, which is we left it empty over here. So what I'm gonna do, just to reduce time and make sure that our out is running, I'm just gonna paste this here and we're gonna rewrite it, don't worry. Still gonna rewrite it. Just gonna post it temporarily and we're gonna remove the storage and the out. And it should get our out and our storage. Project DB out. No, sometimes they show red, so I'm just gonna remove them quickly. And also just gonna take out verify section. Now we have check DB, and then here we're gonna add the DB source. So I think I have defined it onto the database types and service. I called it into the source DB. Okay. So you're gonna have to specify the source DB. Let me just double check what we source DB in this context here. That should be the same. Where we have on real time on server side. Maybe because I put it in the types, that's why it's not being picked. So let's put it back here. And a Firestone engine. Fire-based engine. And in here, yeah, source it's back. Now there's one server which is not going to be running, which is storage. We're going to be looking for later on. Now we're going to remove this back. And for storage, which is over here, we're going to mute it. Actually, we're going to mute the whole of the middleware of storage. We're going to mute all of it. No. And the last thing. Now we're nearly done. I want to see if this one would gonna work. Now let's test our builder back again. This time, yeah, we don't have, we have only this one. We're gonna delete it, and then one. Maybe it need also a license. Sorry, let me pick up my license from the other project, drop it here in case. Yes. I do have a license here. So. And we're gonna need window configurations also. because I did build them last time. Let me just grab them. Don't want to do again the same thing. So I have built this window JSON folder which have a JSON config which allow a lot of stuff for the file. So now let me retry again after adding the config, the JSON. Let's retry now. Hello.js. If I move dot build dot js. Now one individual one I do have empty. Let's double check now. And this is our more project. This is not what we want to test. This is why I was telling you we want to test this one project. So still give us check with the software publisher. All right. Is it something with the code perhaps? Did we miss something inside? Although I don't think that we have missed anything in here. Let me remove the spot section of copyright so it doesn't give us copyright sections. Check with the publisher. So, and the problem, I am the publisher. That's the funny thing, you know. Windows, they're amazing sometimes with their error popping up. What I think is actually the certificate. And if we have check over here, copyright. So weird. So, no. Should. I don't know why it's like in the first version over here, it's working. Second one, no. Gonna check again. Perhaps that was the quotation line on the top. Perfect. The file is there. Again, to find the version of your PC chip with the software publisher. How did I fix it last time? Give me 1 sec, I'll test something. We're gonna come back. Oh no, you know what? Let's test it on her. So let me grab out the database security and the types. So let me see why I'm getting checked with publisher and that way. Okay, another project. What did I have? Some okay. So we have the software already there. Curious to know what point hmm. Mhm. So under the slash mode we're going to. So since it's running from the other side, it's not running from this side, so it must be somewhere along the code that we wrote down. That was a mistake. So perhaps into our out main or into our out services. Or it could be none of the two. So I'll do this. I'll take off the whole out, move it temporarily into somewhere else until I add the second one. So I'm gonna do a small investigation to understand what's the reason with the out itself, or maybe into the cmd commands over here. So let's define and find out, debug together this problem. So I would be taking the out from here, remove it to the side over here. So now let's try. Would be good. So out. Let me check where the I moved that to the builder and I copy this one which has service in that. So it seems like our out. No, not okay. I made a mistake. I copied it twice, so I move this one and let me take this out over here. No way. Yeah, this out over here, and we're gonna need to bring it here. So now our out in this side is working perfectly. So what we're gonna do, CMD, I need to change this, initialize, and we're gonna change this. Now change and update profile. Because I've been tired this few days doing everything consistent. It's a bit tricky. So let me retry to view where was the error. I'm not skipping, I'm getting back to that. I'm just want to know what was the error with our function, which need a Firebase instant. In here we said initialize and return Firebase instant, for example. Let's see what, because I switched back the other on the app. Let's say types would be as this. Sorry, app would be as this, and types would be at the back of the types. Okay, now we still have that showing real-time database. So let's see real-time URL, and the main still show us 3 errors, which I don't know where. Let us put up and see. It is with the sign in. Just function not matching the spelling, that's all. So what was signed by user, signed with user with password. Second one would be sign user with custom token, sign user with token, and last and least, the last one would be send a receipt password. Okay, now I would like to see if it's gonna run this time perfectly or not. And it's still gonna say check with the publisher this time, maybe. Now after this, we're gonna be able to know actually was it our code or is it actually still missing a setup. And in that case, if we are missing a setup, and I'm gonna go for my break, and after my break, we're gonna have a look to the setup together. Otherwise, if it works straightforward, it's mean that we have made a miss in our code where we're actually gonna have to go back and decode the stuff back again. So With all that said, let's go to test. And our code is working. It's just we are missing a setup, as I said. So the codes are working, only that we missing a step. If we look to digital signature, okay, seems like we don't have any digital signature yet. So let me go over and look at the prompt. I actually open it. Next current user. Oh, my mistake. I actually never set the certificate. Um, so let us perhaps tower.env, they're not matching. That's why it says connect publisher.
And now seems like the problem is indeed valid somewhere around it. Oh yeah, a readme. So first of I don't think a readme would actually not allow you to read the file start, but it doesn't make sense. Let me delete this one, copy this one back, add it here. Now let's retry one more time. Perhaps it's just the old one. Oh, I deleted the first one. Okay, I was built in. I should be built in this one, not the other one. Trying to go storage. Doesn't have storage, which is this one. Let me copy this one. Maybe it's just the builder, perhaps, which actually doesn't work. I have this builder here. So yeah, change the password to change everything. It's supposed to be working. Okay, let me try. Still remember that you need actually the panel to be administrator for the first time, but I don't think would that be the problem that we're having here. Right. Okay, I can't fire build. I will try to fire on, and then I will go, then I will go. Usually we should see the digital signature, but I'm unable to see it. Let me double check for this file if I'm able to see it. None. But this one is working. This one, on the other hand, is not. And it's not the code, it's not that, but actually it's something inside the project itself. I can't actually find what it is. Because I was building this one, and for first stage of building, you find the problem of the first one, and you go through, and then you find it, and then you start building the second, third. You forgot about what was the problem in the first initiator. Uh, Actually, yeah. Let us copy the doc because we're gonna need the doc inside here. No, let me. But even I don't think that was the problem. We're gonna double check again. Let's read all the requirements so it could run. Let me check what package did I call this one. We call it main. Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, I'm gonna just test now, and then I'm gonna go for a break because I need a long break. It seems like I need a long one at this time. Gonna be a long night finding what was. I remember it's something to do with this Windows over here configuration version. I think we can add publisher, but it didn't pop up as it's supposed to be. We've been building it with that.